before I ask everyone else to introduce themselves, I apparently have to do the housekeeping arrangements. So, if in the event of the fire alarm sounding, we're not expecting a drill today, so if you leave the building and head towards Tudor Square, is the assembly point. If you don't know where Tudor Square is, follow the rest of us, because we'll be heading in that direction. Can I ask that people switch off mobile devices or put them on silent so as not to disturb the meeting? And that's a note to self as much as anything. And the meeting today is going to be webcast, and recording will also be available for people to view later through the council's website. It is possible that Sheffield Live TV will record and rebroadcast the meeting. Whenever the meeting is open to the public, photography, video and sound recording of the proceedings is permitted. However, this can be withdrawn or suspended at any time if the recording is disrupting the conduct of the meeting or is being undertaken in a manner which could capture personal information. So, that's the housekeeping. I don't believe we have any apologies for today. We have no reasons to exclude the press and public. It's a public meeting. Do we have any declarations of interest?
So I just need to declare that I do know the applicant's wife in a business capacity and also had correspondence about the highways outside the property, but nothing to do with the licence. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Karen.
There we go, technology. Yeah, we've got no, so far as the applicants are concerned, I'm the solicitor, Mr. Thomas, Stephen Thomas. We've got no objections.
Thank you. I've said I'm David Barker. I'll be chairing today. To my left and right are the members of the committee who I'll ask to introduce themselves.
Sorry, I should have done that when I spoke earlier. Councillor McGowan.
Councillor Barbara Masters.
And we have a number of council officers working with us this morning. Would you like to introduce yourselves, please?
Good morning, Samantha Bond, Legal Advisor to the Subcommittee.
Good morning, I'm Jane Goff from Licensing and I'll be reading the report this morning.
Morning, I'm Philippa Bedeck from Democratic Services.
My name is Stephen Thomas. I'm the solicitor for the applicant. Sitting to my right is Alexandra Tunney, who is the DPS, and sitting to her right is John Tompkins, who's the director of the company.
Oh, welcome. And you see, we have a set process. We have a set process for these hearings, and at item 4 of that, you will see it says the solicitor to the committee will outline the procedure. So, Sam, could I ask you to outline the procedure, please?
Thank you, Chair. Has everyone got a copy of the papers or can see some that needs to? Lovely. So the procedure's right at the back of the pack on page 61. So the licensing officer, who's Jane, this morning will introduce the report. If there are any questions concerning the report, that's the time to raise them. So if there's anything missing or factually inaccurate, and then we can get that amended for the record. There are no outstanding objections or representations from responsible authorities. There is one from a local resident who submitted a written representation. They have been invited to attend today. Numerous attempts have been made to contact them, but they haven't attended the hearing today. So what we'll do is we'll head straight over to the applicant for the variation to detail the application, provide clarification on it, and respond to the representation made in the report. Members and officers will have an opportunity for questions of you. Once all that's finished with, you'll be given the opportunity to sum up the variation application. We'll take the options from Jane, which are detailed in the report, and members will then go into private session to take legal advice and consider the application. The decision of the Licensing Committee will be given in accordance with the requirements of the Licensing Act 2003 and regulations made thereunder. Anytime during the hearing this morning, members can request legal advice, so we can do that in open session as we are now with everyone present, or in closed session where we'll just pause the recording, ask you to wait next door while we have a discussion, and we'll then invite you back in and report back what that discussion was. And as the Chair said this morning, it is a public hearing and it is being live webcast at the moment. And that's everything. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sam. So, could we have the report then, please, Jane?
You certainly can. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for your time and attendance this morning. For the determination of a variation application submitted for Sin Restaurant on 72 Russell Street in Kelham Island, submitted by Sin Restaurant and Bar Limited, and this was received by the licensing service on the 3rd of July 2024 and can be found at Appendix A, detailing the details of the variation to extend licensable activity across several licensable activities, as you can see in point 2, point 3. I'm not going to read them all because we'll be here all day. Condition 3 also reads, prior to this application, that there will be no children allowed entry after 6 o'clock. So the current premises licence is at Appendix B, if you'd like to see that there, but during the consultation period, the applicant has agreed conditions with the Environmental Protection Service and Safeguarding Children's Partnership, which have resulted in amendments to the supply of alcohol timings being reduced and the provision of late night refreshment, which I do believe have been withdrawn now as no longer required after 2300 hours. The reason why we're here today is that there was a number of objections to the application, but following agreement with the local responsible authorities with conditions and reduced timings, these were mostly withdrawn. Unfortunately, we couldn't, well, the one remaining resident did not withdraw their objection, and we've not heard from them. Everybody's been invited to attend today. You can see all hearing papers further along in the report. I'm going to scoot down to the appeals section to save us being here all day. Section 7, the appeals, states that the Licensing Act 2003, Section 181 and Schedule 5 makes provision for appeals to be made by the applicant and those making representations against decisions of the licensing authority to the Magistrates' Court. So the recommendations this morning, Chair, are that the members carefully consider the representations that have been made and take such steps as the subcommittee consider appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives.
Thank you, Jane. Do members have any questions on the report at all?
No.
Does the applicant have any questions on the report?
Just one thing to clarify with Ms Goff, and it may become a relevant matter of law at a later stage. I just want to check, is the outstanding objection put on the basis of public nuisance? Or the public nuisance objective?
There we go, there we are. I do believe so. I can simply read what they've stated in their objection, is that they felt that the area was already noisy and rowdy, causing public nuisance already with other establishments in the area, so later opening was not something that they wanted in regards to that. Like we've already said, there's been reduction in times and agreements made with responsible authorities in relation to that already, so, but because they've not withdrawn the objection, we have to hear today, unfortunately. So here we are, and open for further discussion.
So it's over to you to detail the application and address any of the concerns that have been raised.
Yes, sir. First of all, a little bit of background about my clients. Mr Tompkins has been in the licensing trade for 12 years, and the blueprint for premises currently known as the Sin Pub and Restaurant, and to be known as Bubba, for reasons I will explain shortly, is the Devonshire Arms, which is based in Middle Handley at the northeast section of Derbyshire. He has worked at this venue and established that as a nice, relaxing atmosphere, and that's what he wants to have at the at Bubba, I'm going to call it now. The approach is one of inclusive, nice, friendly, welcoming atmosphere where families are welcome, and that's why we were particularly concerned about condition 3 on the existing licence that prevents children under age 18 coming into the premises after 6 o'clock. So that's why we applied for that to be amended and agreed terms with the safeguarding officer, and I'll come back to that. The staff are fully trained. He runs the Devonshire, or did run the Devonshire, with his daughter, Alexandra Tunney, who's now become the DPS at Sin, because there is a valid licence in force there at the moment. And but they fully trained all their staff a few years ago, and they appointed a new manager at the Devonshire who has become the DPS there, so that Alex can be involved in this enterprise. And they've been looking around to be involved in another site for a few years, but we've had COVID and other things that have come along. And on that point, I should mention that shortly before then, he was thinking of starting up another venue called Baba that patented the name, and then COVID came along, so they didn't go ahead with that. So he's now decided he would like to change the name of the Sin pub and restaurant to Baba to give it a new lease of life, if you like. His chef, Marco, is involved in the enterprise. He joined them 6 years ago, but has been involved in the hospitality industry for 28 years and been involved in all aspects of the hospitality trade so far as food is concerned, and brings vast experience to that side of the business. And food, I should say, is an important part of their project. Indeed, they've shown me this morning, where they have a round the world night. So I've just missed out, unfortunately. Wish we'd had the hearing earlier. I could have come to the Australia night, but there we go. I missed that one. The next one coming up is a China night, Chinese food on the 11th of September, Canadian food on the 9th of October, Portuguese food on the 13th of November. And they also like the idea of all-day breakfasts, which will be incorporated into this venue as well. So food is an important part of this establishment, especially as they are a no-smoking venue. No smokers are permitted at these premises, and that's how they wish to continue. And they will have signage up to that effect. They currently have appointed 6 staff, but the plan is, once this application is granted, to have at least 12 permanent staff on the sheet, together with part-time staff, all of which will go through various forms of licensing training, first aid training, food and hygiene, and everything else. They will be closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. They may revisit that going forward, but I think you're well aware of the issues with regard to staffing levels in the hospitality industry, and their focus is really on establishing the current business, hopefully in line with the new hours that you will grant. So turning to the actual application, as has been said, the current hours permit the sale of alcohol from 12 noon to 2300 hours Wednesday to Saturday, and 12 noon to 4 p.m. on Sundays. And I said he wants to run the premises as a family type of operation, and particularly on Sundays, one finds there is a call for Sunday lunches all day, not just at 4 and not just at midday. So the plan is to run it like that, with an emphasis on catering for families and holding pre-booked events. So what they would like to do in the application is to vary the sale of alcohol so that it starts at 11 o'clock and finishes at 22:40. Wednesday to Saturday, giving 20 minutes drinking up time with everybody out at 2300. The current licence says a finish time of 2300, everybody out at 2300 hours. So we thought we would, in tidying up the licence, allow for drinking up time, which is not currently allowed for in the existing licence. We also apply for an extension of hours for the sale of alcohol on Christmas Eve until 2400 hours, with a close time of 24:30 to give 30 minutes drinking up time, and on New Year's Eve until 1 o'clock with a close time of 1:30. And following up on the food side, they wish to open at 9 o'clock. Now, there won't be any licensable activities carried out at that time, but they wish to be able to serve breakfasts, continental and cooked breakfasts, from 9 o'clock, with the sale of alcohol from 11 o'clock. The previous licence, surprisingly, had a condition on it relating to live music. Your legal advisor will tell you that under the relaxations, under the 2012 Local Government and Miscellaneous Provisions Act and other acts, the provision of dancing and music, music and recorded music between 8 a.m. in the morning and 11 p.m. at night, for less than 500 people, does not require a licence. So I have to say I was surprised to see that as a condition on the licence. But as it was there, I thought it very right that first of all we should make it clear that we wish to extend the hours for the provision of live music until 22:40. But whereas the current licence allows live music to be take place every Friday and Saturday, we're limiting it. We're saying we only want it in respect of a pre-booked event. So it won't necessarily be every Friday and Saturday. But going in tandem with that, what we would like is to have the flexibility of being able to provide recorded music with a DJ. So, for example, if someone wants to book the venue for a birthday party and wishes to have a DJ, we can do that. And that would, again, it would be between 7 o'clock and 22:40. And again, that's the 20 minutes wind down time, if you like, with everyone going out at 11 o'clock. So the type of events that they're envisaging are weddings, birthday parties, engagements. There will be a precondition that anyone booking the venue will have food, or food will be incorporated in the operation. But other types of events, if someone wanted to organise a Strictly Come Dancing night, we will have that, or a themed music night, for example, a jazz night. And indeed, we're very conscious that there are local musicians who are anxious, like the Arctic Monkeys, to get on the way and establish a name for themselves. We want to encourage that. So if a local musician came to us and said, look, could I have a venue, run an event at your premises, bring my friends along and so on and so forth, we would actually assist in the promotion of that event. So that's what the live music and the recorded music is all about. And as Jay Miskoff has said, the application for late night refreshment is withdrawn, and there have been extensive, well, not extensive, but a very friendly conversation with the AHO, and it's in the papers, but there are two specific conditions that they've asked for to ensure there will be no noise nuisance when music is provided. So far as the condition 3 is concerned, you will be aware that at 16 a person can enter licensed premises without an adult. So when I spoke to Maureen Hannafy and we discussed the wording of the condition to be put forward, we came up, I'll just find the papers. There we go. With this, persons under the age of 16 are not permitted after. So persons under the age of 16 are not permitted after 2100 hours unless accompanied by a responsible adult and are dining or as part of a pre-arranged family event or party. That's in the papers. But so rather than children under 18 just not being allowed in the premises after 18, given the family-friendly nature of these premises, we want to encourage families to come. And that's the and given that the law says at 16 you can enter into licensed premises without an adult, and I'm conscious that people start work at 16 and they wish to go into a place like Bubba with their friends, but would be excluded otherwise. We don't want to exclude them from being allowed to enter those premises. So that's the rationale behind the wording of that condition. So condition 3 is effectively changed to that. But other than that, the existing conditions apply. And that, in essence, is the application before you. The only other point I would raise, and I've already raised it with your legal advisor, and it's a technical point, really. And this is why I asked Ms. Goff this question. Is the objection based on the ground of prevention of public nuisance? I've certainly been before one licensing authority when I've only had one objector on that ground, and it's been declared invalid. Because if there's only one objector, it can't be public. So I say that as a rider to this. It's probably not necessarily relevant to today's application, but I do, as this is a case that could go forward, hopefully not, but this is a public hearing, I raise that as, it's important that I put that before you as well, so you've got the whole context of this application.
Thank you. We will seek legal advice on that when we move into closed session. So I'm going to open this up to questions now. So, Barbara, is there anything you'd like to ask?
Thank you, Chair. It's really clarification. Can you just, how long have you been operating on this site?
The lease was completed, or my clients acquired the premises in April. They've had a slow start. I think from what I was told, Wednesdays to Saturdays at the moment, they're only operating from 4 o'clock until under the current terms of the licence. And during that period of time, they've appointed about 6 to 8 staff. But Mrs. Tunney is the DPS, and she takes control of the operation. And their other staff, the chef and everyone else, is coming down to help out. If this application is granted, given the hours that we wish to operate, that's why we will then be able to go full steam ahead to try and engage more staff.
Thank you, but was there sort of a restaurant or a pub on the premises before?
Yes. This licence, I think, was granted, and I'll be corrected by Ms. Goff, I think it was granted last year, 2023 or 2022.
October last year.
It was granted in October last year. So there has been a licence, and the person who made the application clearly applied for a live music licence as part of the regulated entertainment, which was why I'm assuming it was put down as a condition, and asked for a condition that the hours cease at 4 o'clock on a Sunday.
What I was trying to establish was whether there was an existing, long-established business before you arrived on the scene.
It was a very short-lived restaurant. It was fine dining, and unfortunately Sheffield don't accommodate for too many fine dining restaurants at £150 a head, £200 a head. So we went in there as a consultant. We do a bit of consultancy, having a bit of background, and we decided to take it on. And just by this time, while we've got things with a lot of roadworks, it killed us for 15 weeks. But we wanted to launch the Bubba Bar, which is Bubba Bar Tapas. It's a tapas restaurant and bar. We had one before the COVID sort of shot down in flames, and we got a great Facebook and Instagram following, and we thought that's what we want to be.
Thank you. Rather
More
a different
affordable, more affordable.
Yeah, rather a different offering now.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Is there any outside provision? I mean, all of this is internal. I'm assuming that's what it's meant to be.
The licence specifically says it's limited to on sales only, so there is no off sales at present. That is something we are going to look at, because I understand the area is being pedestrianised or partially pedestrianised, and there are other, I think there's 8 to 10 other venues in the area which might have outdoor cafe facilities or pavement licences. So that's something we wish to look at in due course, but it's certainly the outside area is owned by the Highways Authority. So we don't operate an off-sales provision, and that's why we say we're a non-smoking venue. We don't want to have that hassle. People will be told that, and certainly no one, if they decide to come into the premises and they are smokers, wish to go outside, they certainly won't be allowed to take their drinks outside, because it's not permissible. I understand that there is a residential area nearby which has a smoking area, so people can go and smoke in there if they wish to do so, but that's nothing to do with us. We wish to cut the problem off at source and say we are a no-smoking venue.
Thank you for that. And just to clarify that I heard right, you want to open from 9 to serve food, but you won't be serving alcohol until 11. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Karen, is there anything you'd like to ask?
Yeah. This premise and your other premises, have you ever had any issues with police, antisocial behaviour or anything like that, just for the record? No?
No.
Right, okay, thank you. And if a resident did have any issues, noise, etc., how would they report that through? What's the, is there a mechanism for them to...
There is we shall example a scheme that Kellam Allen scheme that we've contacted local bars and restaurants and said, if you have any issues with anybody, come and talk to us. The extraction, we've contacted residents in the flats above and said, if you have any problems, come and see us. We're open, I think the other mechanism they can talk to us about is through like a Kellam Island forum. But
they can contact us
they
directly.
can contact us.
We're a family-run
So how would they get your details? Is it on the door or is
Facebook, website,
social media,
yeah.
anything, contact, email.
Yeah, it's all there, we're not hiding.
And so I've just picked up, you've been working with the community already to build those links and to establish yourself around there. Yeah, brilliant.
A brilliant response. Yeah. So it was tough, as people down that area know, the traffic restrictions and the parking restrictions and the roadworks for probably 14, 15, 16 weeks. So we managed to get through with that, and hopefully with this finalisation of things, this will put us on the road to not recovery, because we've not fell down yet, but hopefully we can build a reputation like we've built with the Devonshire Arms over the last 7 or 8 years and attract nice people for decent food and the odd drink.
Thanks. There's no questions from me. Sam, is there anything you'd like to ask?
No, it's all been really helpful, thank you.
So he's back to you to sum up your application.
Well, I've got nothing further to add, but I will just draw one matter to Ms Goff's attention, if it helps, because I don't want to increase the paperwork at the council's end, and that is to say, on the licence, when the original applicant made the application, which we followed when we lodged the application, the address is shown as 72 Russell Street, Sheffield, S38RW. I am told there is no entrance door at that side of the premises, but that's what the council have issued, so I'm stuck with that. If you can, what I will say purely as a practical point, to save time for everybody, if you're prepared to send me a link to pay a £10.50 fee, I will change the name of the premises to Bubba, and it's on a triangle, and put the address down as where the entrance is, which is 2 Alma Street, Sheffield, S38SA. I'll just mention that in open environment. Purely,
If I could just say about that address issue though, every documentation I've got 72 Russell Street. I applied to register it on Royal Mail so that we could get post correctly. It was only then that the council contacted us to say that we'd been using the incorrect address. It was the council that brought that up.
yeah, it's purely a technical thing. I'm conscious that the licensing department are overworked, and I don't want them to issue this licence and then suddenly faced with an application if we can save a bit of paperwork. Just a technical thing. I'll just mention that. I've got nothing else to add to this application.
Well, thank you. Could we have the options then, please, Jane?
You certainly can. I'll get back to the right page. So the options available to the committee this morning are to vary the premises licence in the terms requested, to vary the premises licence with conditions, or to reject the whole or part of the application.
Thank you. Could I ask you to now leave with the licensing officer while we take legal advice and come to a decision? I suspect you won't need to go very far away. Thank you for your time and your representations this morning. The decision of the licensing subcommittee is to approve the application subject to the conditions you've already agreed. And we wish you the best of luck. Hope it's a great success for you.
Thank you. Just for the benefit of the webcast, the objector does have the right of appeal against that decision. So that's within 21 days to the Magistrates' Court. Following the hearing, everyone will receive a notice setting out what was discussed, a brief summary, and how members came to that decision, and just confirming that right of appeal. And it'll just neatly list all the conditions and new operating hours as well. Just in private session, we were discussing as well in terms of the deregulation provisions. So the condition from environmental protection, if you've no objection, I was just going to amend its wording slightly to no amplified sound arising from regulated entertainment. Because obviously it's not enforceable before 11 PM anyway. It just safeguards the position if things are to change. So if you've no objection, I'll just whack that in there. And all kinds of random things. Yeah. But no, thank you all for your time. I appreciate that today. Yeah, oh, it's interesting.